Okay. Well, hi, everybody. And oops. Hi there, Jody. And while we're waiting for everybody to come in, I'm just going to organize a couple of screens as usual and also update you on some news. So just bear with me while I do that. Unfortunately, I can't do that until I'm actually signed in. So I hate that about this system. All right, what do I need? I need this one. That one. And I can put the rest away. All right. It's all good. Yeah. Actually, I think I'm going to start making sure that I start the video a bit later on the replay, just so I can cut this bit out. All right. So there we go. And Jody, how are you feeling today? You've had a tough couple of days again. And I'm just trying to remember what Lauren told us. Hi there, Linda. Yeah, funny enough, I just took an allergy pill for the same reason. And maybe white wasn't my color for today. I think I should have worn something a little bit more colorful so that I didn't look so pale. I'm still not well. It's amazing, isn't it? I've been struggling with this flu all week. So I don't know if anybody else has had it, but it's just like every part of my body is so sore. And you don't know what to do. You know, if I lie in bed, it's really sore. And if I get up, it's really sore. So you can't win. But I did manage to get some painting done yesterday, which is a good thing. So I'm just trying to remember what Lauren told us. For those of you who are catching this on the rebroadcast, Lauren had really good news this week, and that was she probably could go home if she wanted to, but they would have to insist that she stay in bed and not get into her wheelchair. And I'm very pleased to tell you I was so proud of her that she realized that staying in hospital perhaps was the better bet for her health, because she has to go back for skin grafts and things. And if she misbehaves at home, which we all know it's much easier to misbehave at home than it is in hospital, that if she misbehaves there, it could ruin her chances of recovery being as good as it is. So yes, Jodie's saying she's so proud of her, and so was I. I actually, I didn't tell her what I thought she needed to do, and she made what I consider to be a really good decision for her health. And that is what I was concerned about. Not, it's one of those things where you've got to look at it and go, short term, it's not pleasant, but long term, it could save your legs. So, which I know sounds strange for somebody who doesn't have use of her legs. I mean, there's an irony there, right? She's working so hard to save them. So I never thought about that before. I've got to talk to her about that. It's like, yeah. Never mind. Had you ever thought about that, Jodie? Linda, how are you doing? And is Nicholas with you, just so that I can say hi if he's there? Yeah, and I don't know why, Jodie. I never saw the irony of it before, but I mean, suddenly I do. I am somewhat amused by it. So I also would like to put some thoughts and prayers out to Beth, and hope that she starts realizing what she is or isn't doing to her body. I don't know why. I think maybe some prayers are in order here. When I see how little she is eating, I don't want to get tied into it from enabling, but I definitely am concerned, but I don't want to get involved. This is like, if she wants to do this, that's her right. Hi, Jamie. So I guess I would like to do a broadcast about, with some of you who've had eating disorders so we can understand it better. Yeah. He's having a movie night. What movie did he pick? And what nibbles did he pick? So somebody who hasn't had that breakfast yet. Now, I'm sorry that I'm a little stuffed up, but yeah, it's allergy season. And Kerry is walking her heart out in this new job. I find it amazing. Jamie, these, like MyFitnessPal and things, allow you to get negative calories. If you walk, you take calories off your thing. She very rarely ends up with plus calories. That's how much she is walking. So she is burning over 2,000 calories a day at the moment, Jamie, if you can imagine that. So that's pretty amazing. And sometimes up to 5. It's just like, how much must you walk to burn off 5,000 calories? Chip butties, right. For those of you who do not have British background, that means crisps inside a sandwich. Yep. Never quite caught on with me, but I understand it. Just like, what flavor chips? Or chip butties as in fries? No, crisps. They call them crisps. Oh, chip butties would be chips then. Fries, as we call them. Yeah, that's right. I just realized that as I was talking my way through it. Thank you for the graphic. I appreciate that. So Kerry is doing really well with that. Just to give you an update on the birthdays and anniversaries, today is Rick and Nana's anniversary. So we wish them happy anniversary. And the 29th is Lizzie's birthday. And then the next one coming up is the 2nd, and that's Mel's birthday. So just so that you all know that those are coming up. All right, so let's do some congrats. And first of all, I wanted to congratulate Beth, who heard that her daughter is expecting a granddaughter. So apparently it's going to be her first granddaughter. So she's very excited about that. Also, I heard from Sophie this week. Did any of you see the pictures from her vacation in Rome? It looked wonderful. But she actually sent me a private note. You remember we were having a discussion not so long ago about procrastination. And one of the things Sophie, was going to tidy up her bedroom. Well, she actually tidied one side of the bed before she went on vacation. And then she sent me a picture this week of the other side of the bed having been tidied up. But she said, that's the tidy side. Now the original side is untidy again. But I don't know if any of you agree with me. If you go back fast enough, it doesn't take nearly as long to clean the second time. If you let it continue to collect, then it does. But if you get to it pretty quickly, it definitely doesn't take as long to tidy up. Believe me, I know my house is still a mess from trying to empty out the trailer again. And I know it'll just take me a few trips to do this and get everything sorted back into its rightful place. Very sad. I realized I went into some level of depression about the fact I couldn't take the trailer out. And that's really sad to me, but I've got to get my mind sorted out around that. Now, for those of you who heard me talk about using Alexa, Triona from Ireland wrote to me and said that apparently there's a security flaw in Alexa and it listens to everything that you say. Did you know that? I don't have Alexa. I just have the Google app version on my mobile. But that doesn't surprise me. Anything that's capable of being electronic driven obviously is something that is capable of being hacked and listened to. So, buyer beware is what I always say. The thing that I found interesting is why would I spend $200 on an app I can get for free on my mobile? So, other than the fact I am not an Apple user, but that was my thinking. It's just like, excuse me. All right, so we're doing a continuation of the subject about are you a friend or an enabler? But before I do that, I just wanted to acknowledge the incredible news of that came out of Korea like late last night. How many of you heard what happened? Did everybody get up to date on that one? It was quite something to watch. Now, I understand that we will not believe everything until it's proven, but definitely a step in the right direction. And I think that's quite a pun, actually, because wasn't that interesting that when the two met and the president of Seoul, of South Korea, saying, well, I hope to visit you soon in North Korea. And he said, why don't we do it right now? And he dragged him, literally pulled him over to North Korea. There was a moment there where there could have been an international incident because you're kidnapping the president of South Korea. But you could tell that it was done in good humor. And I guess I hadn't realized that he really does have quite a sense of humor, that young man. And so that was, I thought, really nice to see that side of him. And, other than the fact his pants appear to be incredibly baggy, but okay, you haven't seen the news today. All right, so the Korean War has now officially ended, Linda, and it's been going for my lifetime, just about, and it has officially ended. They are doing all sorts of things to actually create two separate countries that are not at war with each other. Yeah, really. Now, we will wait to see. But of course, my suspicious mind went, well, if the South Korean president got to declare peace, which he did, they both did. They declared peace in Korean Peninsula. It made me wonder what Trump is going to be telling us, because with all due respect to President Trump, we know he likes to have all the kudos. So whatever he does has to be bigger than world peace. I'm not quite sure how he's going to achieve that. I'm pretty sure he's going to be taking home some detainees. That would be my sense, that they will exchange some American prisoners of war. But I don't see how that's going to be bigger than Korean peace, but we will see. The other thing that I found really interesting was the body language between Trump and Macron, and then Trump and Angela Merkel this morning. Jody's saying if he says anything that's not a big lie, then it's not a lie, then it's big news. Yeah, I agree. Sakura's asking if she can do a video call, and I'm going to say no. Okay, so Bernice, if you can hear me, she's saying that somebody has knocked on her door really loud. And when she looked out, there was nobody there. So just don't open the door. And if you feel scared, phone the police. If it happens again, just phone the police. That's what they're there for. I just don't know how. If I do a video call now, then I'm not quite sure how to do it, and that's going to mess up the broadcast. So, Sakura, I just breathe. Yeah. And yeah, that's what I think. If it happens again, call the police. And the hubby, her husband said, stay inside with a knife and her taser. Who has a taser? Wow. Um, yeah. So just, it probably isn't nearly as scary as you think it is. Sometimes, I appreciate the fact that you want to be safe. And I appreciate the fact that you're scared. Triona, I just gave you a heads up and a thank you for your comment about Alexa. So I just wanted to let you know that, yes, to actually acknowledge just that Triona and Linda are talking about the baby names. And so I think calling him Louis, I think they call him Louis, not Lewis, right? It'll be, it won't be like Lewis. It'll be Louis, as in. I always get confused because yes, the silent S. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the States, they're inclined to say Lewis, as in Louis. But, really, it's Louis, I think, as in Louis the 15th, right? It's from the French. So we don't pronounce the S. How about that? So, and that is acknowledging the Queen's cousin, Lord Mountbatten, who was killed by the IRA in a bomb attack in the 50s, I think, or no, 70s. They blew up his yacht, I think. Yeah, Lord Mountbatten. So anyway, I was very delighted. And seriously, who gives birth at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, 6 o'clock, and then, walks out looking like she did, 8 hours later? It was just insane. I was looking at myself having had a good night's sleep, and really, I was embarrassed. I don't know about the rest of you, but I can understand that she wanted to get home, and I totally got that. All right. So anything else in the news before we get on to the main subject? Just in case anybody else has got any stuff they want to add here. Yeah, she really is radiant, isn't she? And, I thought it really nice that they sort of... Now, have any of the boys got Philip's name? I don't think so. Yeah, and came out in 3-inch heels and, looking like $1 million. I mean, it was just like, really? So I'm pretty sure she would have had to have one heck of a shower. And then dry her hair. I mean, so you think about it, she probably only had about 6 hours recovery time before she had to start getting dressed to go out again. And it was just like, no, really. Who does that? Okay, anybody else with any other news that they want to add so that I can include it this evening or when other people come in? And if not, then I'm going to move right along and continue talking about our case studies. No epidural. Yeah, so we know, that's what I'm saying. So we know how much pain she must have been in. But, can you imagine, you'll forgive me for this one, but can you imagine the stress being the specialist delivering the babies? When they're royal babies, you better not mess up here. It's like, I would think doing that job is stressful enough with screaming mothers, but to actually have a situation where that's a royal baby you're dealing with, especially the first one. Yikes. And how many of you just adored Princess Charlotte, with her little, okay. and Prince George, obviously, like his daddy, does not like photographers. Do you all remember that when Prince Harry was growing up? You actually heard him say to his mummy, I don't like the photographers. Not photographers, just photographers. I always loved that. But you could tell he just didn't want to wave to them. And whereas Charlotte's going, I got the wave, I can do that now. No, the rest of us would wave like this. No, she actually had the royal wave already. And I thought that was delightful. Just touched my funny bone. All right, everybody. So at at 21:47 on the clock, Jody, we are starting the subject. So Beth, hi, and thank you for coming on board. And just breathe. All right, so 9 times out of 10, these things aren't nearly as dangerous as you think they are, but good for you for staying safe. And if it happens again, get into your bathroom and lock the door there as well. So, and call the police, obviously. That's what they're there for. So how are you feeling? Are you breathing? Oh, not Beth. Sorry, that was Sakura who had that problem. I apologize. Sorry, Beth. So I got 2 of you mixed up for some reason. All right. So here we go. A case study about friend or enabler. And how many of you gave this some thought this week? And have any of you had any aha moments where you actually identified you were enabling? Because this is about working on us, not working on everybody else, right? So do any of you have any stories on that one? And the quote is, helping is doing something for somebody that they are not capable of doing for themselves. We're enabling when we are doing things for other people that they're more than capable of doing for themselves. So I don't know if any of you noticed a comment that was made by Sam on the replay feed. And she was saying something, and I can't quote her directly at the moment, but something about the fact that enablers are in fact passive-aggressive people feeding their ego. Now, I don't know about you, but that sort of made me suck breath a bit, which means it must be partially true. That's how I look at it. But what I did is I asked her for her reference point on that, because if you've got a reference point, I'd really like to read up on it. Do I think that to be true? Not necessarily, but that's just my opinion. And the other thing is, I really gave some thought to a comment that Lolo made, which is, if it's a friend, I'd do it anyway. And so let's be quite clear that we're not talking about, a friend who occasionally asks you, could you just help me with this? I'm talking about ongoing things. Where people are constantly asking for you to do stuff for them. I thought, who was it, Beth? Is it Beth? Hi, Sophie. Sophie, I gave you a heads up for cleaning up the one side of your bed. You'll be able to get that in the replay. So who is it that owns the Mini Cooper? I was so proud of you. because, yeah, can I tell the story? Because it was brilliant. I thought it was just definitely deserves a gold star in my book. You're not a doormat. You just didn't realize it before. I do not blame people for things that they didn't know. And what's the point of blaming you? It's not about blaming. It's about, are you okay? So you're going to love this, guys. Listen to this one. So Beth, who by the way is the grandmother of a granddaughter to be, because she's got a Mini Cooper, she blew out 2 tires this week. First of all, the first one, would stress anybody, but to have 2 tires blow out on the same day, I cannot imagine the stress of that. But here is the thing: apparently, her daughter said you're going to have to get a bigger car because she's pregnant with a granddaughter. And apparently, Beth took a breath and said, "No, you're going to need to get a license and get your own car." Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but well done. I hope you were laughing as you said it, because quite often you can say those things with a humor and they will get through anyway. Yeah, I was so proud of you. Ah, excellent. So for those of you watching this on the replay, Linda's saying that she hasn't watched the video yet. And quite honestly, Linda, it's worth watching because we have a lot of examples, but we're going to be doing a few more today. But recently she started saying no to somebody who apparently runs out of money every other week and asks to borrow it regularly. I am sure you're not the only one. Just let me get the disclaimer in, a couple of them. First of all, the examples I'm going to give, we're going to presume that we are talking about adults dealing with adults, right? We're not talking about children. We're talking about an adult talking to an adult. And also, for those of you who don't know, just a disclaimer for the fact that I am not a professional, I'm not a medical person, not a therapist, not any of those things. I'm just a human being with, as you can tell, quite a few years of experience. And so the views you're going to hear are just my own or those of my viewers. All right. And again, I'm going to give you the best red flag I can give you. If ever you start feeling resentful, you know that somebody is using you. How many of you have noticed that now? When you start feeling resentful, it's like, oh, if I'm feeling resentful, then somebody is using me. Makes sense? Using and abusing is, what's that? Okay, fine. I just, what's that in the background? Just driving me insane. As you can probably tell, I've also got something weird going on with my neck. Yes, so that to me is the biggest heads up. Whenever I start feeling resentful about anything, then I know it's time to put down a boundary, or somebody has crossed a boundary I've already put down. Okay, so Linda's saying that she now can recognize the lead in on the phone tone. The voice tone that she used warns her it's coming any minute now. Yes, Beth, and that's what I'm saying, that you're not the only one, but now that you can recognize it, Beth is saying that she gets an angry feeling and tends to take it out on other people. Yeah, I get a bit snippy. Do any of you relate to that? I'm a bit very snippy, actually. Not nice. When in fact, I really need to call it for what it is. Like, I'm sorry, I'm beginning to get angry here because I think you're abusing our friendship. That would be one way of handling it. All right, so did anybody else have any feedback on the assignment for the week, which is to actually recognize when somebody is doing that to you? It's great to hear that some of you are beginning to see it. That means that it was worth doing the broadcast. You wish you could say it like that? Well, you know, the funny thing is you can, but you may choose not to. Ah, your sister does it, and you've stopped her recently, and now you haven't heard from her. Yeah, you know, it's very difficult. You've got to feel a little bit sorry for them, Triona, you know, because they used to be able to get away with this. And that's another thing. And that's another thing I would do if you're just starting to put down those boundaries, which is go, I know that for the last 20 years I said okay to this, but I just want to tell you I've had enough. So I'm going to have to say no this time, and probably every other time you ask me. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Find somebody else. I love you dearly, but find somebody else. So, are you ready for your first question of the day? Yes, but you know, Linda, the thing is this. Linda's saying she agrees that she chooses not to, but her problem is asserting herself. I think that's something we all have to learn. Well, maybe not everybody that is part of Dear Mama Sal, but I'd like to suggest that a lot of us in Dear Mama Sal have to learn how to be able to say those things. And, you know, and to actually, I find doing it with humor works really well. I'll just start to laugh and I go, you know, if I didn't know better, I think you were trying to manipulate some money out of me. But I know you've actually tapped me at least 3 times this month already. So guess what? I hope I'm wrong. you know, so, and quite honestly, 9 times out of 10, they don't have the courage to actually carry on. And if they do, just start laughing and going, okay, I want you to listen really carefully to this one. No. Really? No. But I understand why you tried. Find somebody else. All right, here's your next question. This is a continuation of the broadcast we did last week because I wanted to make sure we did it in both time zones. And we were talking last week about how people, when they manipulate you. Yes, Sophie, I think the reason that you don't have anyone like that in your life is you have pretty strong boundaries. Well, Kerry, welcome. I was giving you some credit earlier for the incredible amount of walking that you're doing, but you'll catch that on the replay. All right, so here we go. All right. When you listen to a friend talking about something, for example, Sakura just talking to us about what's going on in her life, do you actually feel anxious listening to it? And how many of you felt more than anxious? And Kerry, just to catch you up here, Sakura just let us know that she's at home alone and somebody banged on her door really loudly, and that she was concerned. And I said to her, if anybody does it again, just call the police. That's what they have neighborhood watch for. And when I say neighborhood watch, but the neighborhood policing is for those things. Yes, so Beth is more than anxious because Beth, my sense is, okay, hi A. My sense is, Beth, that, you know, from some of the things that you've been telling us this week, you know, you're inclined to buy into other people's stuff. So really, I would recommend that you do some work on this. And, you know, there's part of me that goes, with all that's going on with you, you might want to find out if there is a self-help group in your area for people with your physical ailment or mental ailment, actually. Because, you know, you definitely deserve to be working with a group of people who understand what's happening to you. But I also heard, that you rushed home for a cigarette, I think, and all sorts of other things. And, I so relate to some of these things because they're behaviors that I used to do before I realized that I don't need to do them anymore. Yeah. So, Triona, that's right. Because we awfulize things, somebody knocked on my door really loudly. Well, that's subjective. And so it's really important that you understand it could have been absolutely nothing important at all. But I totally understand why it knocked you for a loop. All right. So, Linda, your doctor gave you anxiety pills this week. So are they ones that you can take when you're overwhelmed, or are they ones that you need to be taking every day? So I want you to be really aware as to the level of discomfort you get from hearing other people's bad stuff. And because I need you to remember, Linda, if and when overwhelmed, um, just don't get to rely on it, right? Because really what anxiety is, and social anxiety is, and any of these things is an inability to cope with what's going on. And so, it's, if you've got something that'll help you take the edge off that, then I understand that. And, I would also find out, maybe take one, find out how much a reaction you get to it, because maybe half of one is good enough. My mom, yeah, I seem to remember my mother used to use, now listen to this one. My mother used to use seasick tablets as a sleep aid. All right. Instead of taking sleeping drugs, she would take, I've only just remembered that. All right. So yes, Linda, you have been very isolated, and not been looking after yourself too well. But so you probably are the closest link that I could give to Beth with the issues she's going through, because she hasn't learned to look after herself. She's so busy trying to be perfect for everybody else that she's totally lost looking after herself. So, it's really important when you can see that and start working on it. Believe me, I know. Yes. So Beth's saying that when she gets anxious, she tries to go out for her daily walk. It's a really good idea. Do you know that walking actually does release endorphins and serotonin or something, that actually calm you down? So it's a really good idea. Kerry, you walking anything more during the week just blows my mind. You've been doing amazing amount of walking recently. So what I want you to be really aware of this week is when other people are telling you stories, how much do you buy into it? All right, how much do you take on their stress, their anxiety, whatever? Can you imagine if I did that? I probably would not be able to broadcast. Now, it probably sounds like I'm pretty cold on things, that I can just deflect it. But I cannot be of help to anybody if I get all sucked into the problem. Does that make sense? Yeah, and Beth, these are all warning signs of a codependent. That you try to solve other people's problems, that I could really mount them up. And that's why I'm saying you probably would do really well if you can find a self-help group at your local church or something where they're dealing with these sort of issues. Yeah, Linda, they say that all too often it is the caregiver that wears out before the person being looked after. Beth is saying that she never let anybody know her problems. She held it in. Well, I'm so proud of you for being here. And we all relate to it. Really, we all relate to it. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't relate to it. So, okay, so here's one that I wanted to ask you. All right, how about this one? Your friend still smokes and you love him or her, so you keep reminding them how dangerous it is. Is that a friend or an enabler? Actually, I hate to tell you this, that's an enabler. You see, a friend is smart enough to know that they've seen the research. You don't need to keep telling them. What you're doing is laying a guilt trip. Am I right, Beth? Who else? Does anybody else in the room still smoke? That is not being a friend. That is saying that you're treating them stupid. Believe me, I remember it. It's like you think I don't know that. So please stop telling me what I already know, right? Stop. It's just a guilt trip. Oh, did you know how dangerous it is? And I thought I'd tell you only 1 out of 5 people do this, that, and by the way, it's not always true. And so I have practical and real experience with this because I will always remember for the rest of my life what Benji used to say to me when he started to get triggered because I was smoking. I think some of you know this. He would say to me, I know you're going to quit one day. And I'll be so happy when you do because I'd like you around a lot longer. Now, that is somebody owning their stuff, right? He's upset because I'm smoking because he'd like to have me around a bit more. All right. So, Beth, I'm not going to bug you about the fact you smoke or you choose not to eat enough calories. I'm going to hold you accountable as an adult that you know that just drinking one smoothie a day is going to help you. Yes, Linda, because I had practical experience of it from Benji, right? And so I want to pass that on. So Beth, there's part of me, Beth, and are you ready for your first major 2x4? And I always will ask permission before I give a 2x4. So let me know if you're ready. Okay, yes, smack me. No, I don't want to abuse you or hurt you. I just want to say that I think from what I've seen this week is you're a bit of a drama queen. Right? Your life seems to revolve around drama. Now, you're probably saying to me, Sal, but I don't create that. But actually, I think there'll be people in this room that will tell you, yeah, you probably do. So, what I want you to do, Beth, is to start working on not being quite such a drama queen. Do you think you could do that for us? Just be aware that you really, I'm going, boy, everything I hear from from Beth is a bit more drama. Oh, I only ate so many calories a day. That's bound to be dramatic. But really, we want you to start being responsible, right? For yourself. Only you can do it. We can't get you to eat, right? It's beyond our comprehension. But a lot of us are trying to give you some clues as to what you might eat that will be easy to eat. And then I hear, I heard the drama that you go through, but it's all about drama for you. And I remember that. So I'm just going to keep calling it for what it is, Beth. So take a deep breath and know we do care and we do want to hear you out. But let's cut the drama, right? You're a big girl now. You're not a 5-year-old that needs to be told that you shouldn't be smoking. And I was trying to remember, Beth, all the excuses I gave about smoking. I've tried everything there is to quit and I couldn't do it. And I guess at some level, everybody has a good reason for doing what they do. Listen to this one, people. Beth saying that I used to be overweight when I was little. People called me Butterball. And I lost weight and got so much praise. I've had issues ever since. You have had issues that they praised you for losing weight? What caused the issues? Oh. So you actually starve yourself to death, slowly committing suicide because you want strokes from other people? Okay, so that's your choice. By the way, that's something, that's a self-inflicted wound, right? We cannot make you feel bad about yourself. It's something you do to yourself. You do know that one, right? So here's the thing, Beth. You've done a really good job of joining the fitness group or the lack of fitness group, depending on how you look at it. And so, first of all, big round of applause for that one. And I just wanted to give you the heads up in case you didn't know that you were a drama queen. Right. So Kerry relates to this as well. And you know something? Do it for yourself, not to make other people happy. You see, when you're doing things in life, Beth, to make other people happy, you are definitely codependent. You got the smoothie stuff. Beth, we love you. All right. Now, here's the thing, Beth, and I'm going to give you a piece of advice. I'm so proud of you. I really am. I've got tears in my eyes. What are you going to blend it with? I told her to get the milk that her husband doesn't like to make the smoothies, so that he doesn't drink it. He likes whole milk. I told her to get skim. Yes, Kerry, when we're doing things because we want to, not because we're trying to impress somebody else, that's really good. But Beth, all right, Beth, 2 major steps in 1 week. Number 1, you joined the fitness group. So proud of you for that. That's a major step forward. Number 2, you went out and got the stuff to make smoothies. That's 2 major steps. Now we just got to get you drinking them occasionally. And by the way, they taste really good. All right, here we go. Let's move on. Yeah, I actually get the ones that look even tastier. I get the pineapple with a little bit of spinach and stuff in it so that I can add it to orange juice. And I blend it all up with orange juice. I juice my own oranges in my magic bullet and then add a bit of water. And then I add some of those mixtures that you're talking about. By the way, don't get the one that has corn in it. I don't know why I got that one day. Oh, no, not corn. Yeah, red corn. Don't get that one. Yes, mixed berries. I don't do well with anything that's got blackberries, but other than that, black cherries are my go-to for smoothies. Bananas and or black cherries are my go-to. They work really well. All right, so let's all remember that this is about little steps. Little steps will take you down the right path here, Beth. So 2 big steps in 1 week. We're proud of you. All right. Here we're going to carry on with a story about the smokers. All right. So I want you just to get into this because it's really important that you understand. Linda's saying she's into overnight oats. I totally agree with you. If you just put oatmeal into a container with some milk in it and leave it in the fridge overnight, by the next morning, it is so creamy. And Linda's saying she mixes oats, yogurt, and frozen fruit. Yeah, I do the same thing. I love overnight oats as well. Beth, it's a really good thing. If you had overnight oats 3 times a day, we'd be really proud of you. Yes, you won't lose weight drinking smoothies. And that's why I thought it was a good thing for Beth, because she's trying to put on weight. So even if she just drank 3 smoothies a day, she'd be putting nutrition into her body and probably be putting on some weight. All right, here we go. If we're thinking about your smoking friend, if you go down to the store and buy ciggies for them because they're sick, are you a friend or an enabler? Okay, but how many of you are going, I would do it for a friend if an enabler? Yeah, so have any of you, when you were smoking, ever asked a friend to buy you cigarettes? Right, Jody. All right, and I have to agree with Jody. If they're asking you to buy them every day, then you become an enabler. Hi, Sakura. How are you doing, honey? Are you breathing yet? Yes, I think if you know that your friend is sick and is a smoker, quite honestly, I would get them the cigarettes. But that's just because. And yes, I do believe it probably would be enabling, but they can't. You remember what I said? If they can't do it for themselves, then that would be being a friend. So if they're sick and can't go to the store themselves, I would buy the cigarettes. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I would do that. Good, Sakura. Now, what I want you to do, because you've had a physical shock and a mental shock, Sakura, is be aware that your heart rate probably is going to be racing. You're going to go in and out of fear. You remember the cycle of loss? You actually went into some level of panic there. So your body has reacted to it. So you're going to be having very strong reaction to things. So just keep breathing and be grateful. Is hubby on his way home? Good. I'm pleased that he did that for you. The way, Sakura, the way that I do it as well. Okay. So that's only a little while from now. Okay, so here's how I practice. Actually, we should all try that for a second. Are you all ready to do some deep breathing? Beth, this would be really good for you if you don't know how to do it. And what I do is, and for those of you who actually can walk, try doing this when you walk. That's what I do. Okay, so here's the trick. Breathe in for 5, hold it for 5, let it go for 5. Can everybody try that? How did you do? Now, what you will notice is that really is a different, it's a really different way of breathing from the way that we normally breathe. And once you can do 5, then easily, go to 6. Yeah, exactly, Beth. So, Beth, I'd really suggest that it be an idea for you to practice this. Very calming. And very good for your brain and very good for all your organs because you're holding the oxygen and giving it time to circulate. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, if you can do it, wonderful. And then I can actually, when I'm walking, I can actually get up to about 10 just by adding, okay, I've got 6 mastered now. Let me try 7. And then I can do 10. I think I can breathe in for 10, hold for 10, let out for 10 as I'm walking. It's multitasking. Hi, Anna. Welcome. Dear Mama Sal and friends. I'll let everybody tell you where they're from, Anna. If you'd like to tell us, that would be great. Just give us the country or the region or whatever. But welcome. And how did you find us? It's not that we want to bombard you with questions, but welcome aboard. We're talking about the difference between a friend and an enabler. All right, so now that we've discovered that some of you would be able to go to the store and get your friend your cigarettes and realizing that you are enabling them, but if they are sick and unable to get them for themselves, then that's acceptable. All right, here's the thing. What if they asked you to go and buy pot or weed? How many of you would do that? No, definitely not from Sakura. And yet it's legal in Washington State. Nope, definitely not Beth. Nope, definitely not Carrie. Isn't that interesting? All right. Yes, good question, Linda. Was it medically authorized? How many of you would if they were in pain? It is legal in, where do you live, Beth? It's not legal in your state. Okay, so then you have every right to protect yourself. Yeah, it's not legal yet in Ireland, all right? That's fine. By the way, where I live, it's legal medicinally if you've got medical reason to have it, but not for recreational. So the thing is this, if they've been prescribed it legally, then yes. Yeah, exactly, Kerry. So you got to make sure that you look after you before you look after them. So well done, everybody. Right? If it's still illegal, now this issue about it's legal in your state, but not legal federally, that's an individual call. All right. Because I reckon if your state has shops selling weed, as I saw in Washington State, and I just about freaked. But if it's legal enough in your state that you can actually walk into a shop and buy it, then that's a whole different ball of wax. But absolutely understand, look after yourself and be true to yourself before you help others. Well done, people. I like that. All right. So Kerry got sunburned today in Kentucky. How about that? It's a beautiful day here in British Columbia as well, Kerry. All right. Here's my next question to you. Did you bother to put on sunscreen, or were you stupid enough to go out in the midday sun without any? What did I say? I thought I said Kansas. Okay. So the answer is no. You don't have to give your reason. That's giving an excuse there. It's being defensive there, Kerry. All right. So the answer is no. And if somebody says why not, then the reason is I didn't know we were going to the zoo. So Triana's saying they're expecting snow this weekend. Lordy, yeah. So here we go. You hear about the death of a friend's friend, and you didn't know the friend's friend. Do you cry with them? Kerry, get some. Really. Get some and get one of those hiking hooks and keep a little bit. All right, so here again, Beth, I want you to see other people's reaction, all right, and yours, all right? So other people are saying, no, I just sympathize, or I don't cry easily, but I'll be there to comfort for them, to be comfortable for them. Yes, our job when somebody is grieving is not to grieve for them. Our job is to be there for them. Do you understand? When you take on their sadness, then you are letting too much in. You don't have any barriers. And it's about, it would be, for example, when Sakura told me about what was happening to her. All right. Sakura knows I love her dearly, but it's like, I'm not going to buy into this drama because I'm not going to be of any help. If that's happening to you, call the police or, but make sure you're safe. I think, it's a good idea if you've got that sort of ability, right? The trick is don't go shooting through a door at somebody you don't know. Exactly, Kerry. If you didn't even know the person, why would you be crying? Right? That would be a real warning sign to me that my emotions are totally out of control, that I'm ruled by my emotions. Does that make sense? Beth, I'm sending you a big hug here because I know this must be difficult stuff for you. But the trick is, if you join us for long enough, you're going to start seeing this a different way. I know it seems weird. I mean, big hugs to you. We all know that it sounds weird because we've been there and done it. Yes, Sakura. And you understand, I am not going to call you and enable you. I'm going to say, if you're scared, and if it happens again, call the police. Right? Because you've got to look at it and go, all it was somebody knocking on your door. The loudly is subjective. If you told a policeman they're knocking on my door loudly, that's very subjective. The police will not arrest somebody for knocking on your door loudly. All right. You think about how loudly the police knock on a door, right? They know about loudly. Pow, 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 pow. So, but they always announce themselves. So if somebody is doing that without announcing that they are the police, by the way, even if they say they're the police, get them to hold up their identification. Do you have a peephole in your door, Sakura? There you go. So good stuff. So Sakura, you got control of yourself. Just by deep breathing. It's a really important thing for people to know, because if Sakura hadn't managed to stop, yes, you're controlled now and relaxed. Wow. Shh, it's okay. Another great idea. All right. You put the TV up and now you're off to go and get on with your life. Wow. How many of you think that's a serious gold star from Sakura? That is really amazing. So you've overcome the devil, Sakura. That's how I look at it. The devil wanted to scare you and you overcame it. But on the other hand, Sakura, you're ready. If this is a bad thing, you're ready to defend yourself. Yeah, absolutely a gold star. Yeah, I am very proud of you. You have taken control of your emotions of fear. All right, so, and he will be there soon. All right, so you're quite right to distract yourself. You know, power cleaning is also a good thing to do if you're trying to get rid of that emotion. And the reason is because your body will have sent a lot of power to you. All right, that's the adrenaline rush you get. All right. So it's a good idea to do something energetic to get rid of that adrenaline. Does that make sense, Sakura? You probably feel a little bit nauseous. So good idea to have some tea with sugar in it or something, because your body is, you're in a level of shock. But I am so proud of you. Really, you did the right thing. You called out. Now, yes, that is excellent that you understand that, right? You're expecting an adrenaline crash. Yeah, so you'll probably find after hubby gets home and you probably have a little bit of a cry because you were so scared. Once you do that, you probably will sleep pretty well. I'm really proud of you for doing what you did. So here, let's move on then. Okay, this one is going to be difficult for some of you, so take a deep breath. You listen to a friend and she tells you a story about how she is being mentally abused at work. What do you do? I think you did a great job, Sakura. I think that you're ready in case it goes wrong. That's called Plan B is ready. All right, so well done. But on the other hand, you're getting on with your life to use up the adrenaline. So I'm very, very proud of you for this. Yes, Kerry. All right. So how many of you have ever been abused at work mentally? And Kerry, to whom would they report it? Ah, all right. So now we're saying report it to a supervisor. Yeah. You're a medical student. Nice to meet you, Momo. So, Momo, is that male or female? Forgive me for not recognizing that name. You got yourself some coffee as well, right? All right. So, yes, if somebody is abusing you at work, if you are able to deal with confrontation, welcome, sweetie. We've got people from all over here, from the UK, from Ireland, from the States, from Canada. So welcome. I'm delighted. We love medical students. Our Jenny Jen joined us when she was a medical student, and she's now a serious doctor. So we're very happy. We're talking about enablers versus friends at the moment. So do you understand this business about if you didn't know the friend, then if you start crying with them, you are out of control of your emotions. Just go back to that one. And now, now listen to Sakura's comment. This is about the being abused at work, mentally abused. Had reported it to management, but they were still at it and made everybody else hate me by spreading rumors. People that knew me well knew, and they trusted me as they could, but I stayed true to myself. Yeah. Now, again, the problem is what's true. And I always have this problem about, is your truth the truth or my truth the truth? So what I learned to do, people, is when people insult me, I try to ask myself, is there any truth in this? So can you give me some examples of the way that people abuse you at work? And let me give you some words around it. How many of you would appreciate that? And as usual, I think half our problem is we're never given the words how to deal with something like this. So can anybody give me an insult? By the way, feel free to insult me. I will still love you. It's very difficult to demonstrate it if you don't give me an insult, people. So be kind. Let's do some. Because it's going to help somebody. Wow. You can do this, people. All right, so well done. We've got two of them now. Thank you for your bravery. The first one, I won't put names to it because I know you guys probably don't want this, was wondering if you... Yeah, I do actually, Linda. I want you to insult me so I can demonstrate it. All right, so, all right, so here's the first insult. I've heard you be prettier if you weren't fat. The thing that I found out is, go back with a question. Wow, who told you that? It's just like, yeah, there's Wow. And then somebody's saying, I had a coworker slap my butt and reported it in writing 4 times in 4 different incidents, ended up writing to the corporation, and the store manager got fired for not taking the issue seriously. Yeah, exactly. That is very important. For example, all right, so now you've got such a beautiful face. If only you lost the weight. Thank you. So is the fact that I have some weight on me a problem for you? Now, the ultimate one would be to be able to say, I hear the love in that. I really hear the love in that. I hear that you would like me to be healthier. Is that why you said it? That's, that works really well. Yeah, and somebody's saying that they've had their ass slapped and been felt up at work. Well, that is unforgivable in this day and age. By the way, I think it was unforgivable in any day and age, but now it's definitely unforgivable. Okay. So now we're hearing that somebody said that they were spreading awful rumors about other co-workers and that I was a selfish, what, and a know-it-all, but I never talked ill about others. Well, this is the whole thing. You've got to, if you are constantly complaining, if you're constantly bad mouthing people, they are less likely to believe you. I think that's a very relevant point. But if you are somebody that doesn't complain a whole lot and who, then I think they take you a lot more seriously. So let me take a deep breath, everybody. But if you're a drama queen, they're probably less likely to believe you. Wow. And somebody said, I only had my backside felt once, but he did look pretty with the ring mark on his face. Yeah. I had somebody try to, I have to say this, seeing as we're getting into it, I had somebody try to rape me once. And I actually put my teeth through his shoulder. I reckon those scars would be. So, it's like, I need to tell you that never is this a good thing. All right. By the way, if you are in a work situation and they're not listening to you and you're constantly getting abused, I would go to your labor standards people, your labor, I think every country has a labor board of some sort. And you can actually go to them with this sort of a problem. All right. And actually say to them, I've labor relations. Yeah, it depends which country and what they call it, Beth. And that's why I didn't want to put too good a name on it, because it depends, what country you're in. But most countries have this. And so if you have complained in writing, keep a copy. By the way, I would email a screenshot of it to myself, so I had a record of when I sent it to management. And this is what it said. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then start keeping track. On this day, I sent the notification to my workplace. This is the answer I got, and take another screenshot. Create the paper trail. And if they continue not to do anything about it, take all that documentation, print it out, right? Exactly, Beth. Take 2 copies and then take it to the labor relations. Very important. And they will speak to management. And believe you me, they will talk to labor relations. Even if they are poo-pooing you, they don't poo-poo labor relations. And they can be fined quite heavily for not investigating properly. Okay, good one. Good discussion, people. All right, next question. Now, this one some of you really relate to. Where are my leaders of the universe? How many of you gave up that title, that you used to be ruler of the universe? All right, so somebody's saying here that I took a gap year after my A-levels. A-levels is a UK term, all right? And taught at the school I graduated from. It was sad to see that some of the teachers whom I had looked up to started being mean to me because I was their co-worker. Yeah. And they're entitled to their opinion, all right? You just need to understand that's just their opinion and they're entitled to it. Just don't let them ruin your day. And I found that by asking them a question, confronting them back, but do it politely. I noticed that you're being a bit snippy with me. Have I done something to upset you? All right, so both Jody and Kerry say they've given up being ruler of the universe, and I know them well enough to know that it's okay for me to quote them. So I want to just make sure you understand this question. You gave a friend some advice and they took it. However, oh no, let me start with the one before that. Sorry, everybody. Question 15. You listened to a friend. I'll get it right in a minute. You gave a friend some advice and they didn't take it. What do you do? Do you get upset? Triona is saying that's okay. Sophie's saying she does nothing. Yeah, you see, the thing is this. Let the cards fall where they may. Exactly. As long as they're an adult, it's their choice. How many of you get upset? Yeah, Jody says, I wouldn't get upset anymore. I can hear you, Jody, but you would have done, right? Why don't they change? I gave them the right advice. Why don't they take it? Because they're not ready. I'm a great believer that everybody is going at their own speed, and their speed is the right speed for them. Can you imagine if I got upset with every viewer that didn't take my advice? Or, I've just found out to my horror that I've put on nearly 10 pounds since Christmas. And yet I seem to be eating correctly. Yeah. Linda's saying that I'd be really cross at her, if I got upset with people who didn't take the advice. But you see, Linda, all I look for is I want to make sure you got the right information. All right? What you do with it is your responsibility, not mine. So I don't get upset. There was a moment there when I did. When I heard you'd been physically hurt, that to me, if I want to tell you, if I were living in your area and your friend, I would have called the police on that one, I have to admit. So you're lucky I didn't live there. So I'd like to remind you all The next one is an important one. How about you gave them advice and they took it and then it went wrong? How many of you would feel guilty? And I'm thinking about, for example, yeah, and I think, Jodie's saying she'd feel a bit guilty. Yes, would you feel guilty for giving them, you didn't give them the wrong advice. You just gave them advice, Beth. Yes, Sophie. Remember that all you did was give them input. They made the decision to do what you had said. And Linda, who's grown so much since we first met her, says 50-50. I'm not responsible for the problem. I'm just advising. All right. So, but you see, you can't be responsible for how they do it. And maybe they did it in a way that wasn't correct. And so your job is to give choices. They make the choice, not you. All right. So that's why you'll normally find me giving people 2 or 3 choices as to what you might be able to do. And that's really important. And I do need you to understand this. I do know that enablers think they know better and want to be right at all times. They rescue and they control. If you're rescuing people and trying to control them, then you are, in fact, an enabler. How many of you are going, been there, done that? So if you give advice to people and they don't take it, how many doctors have to just totally ignore the fact? Oh, Linda says she may have emotionally grown, but please keep the 2x4 handy. Yeah, thank you, Linda. I want to tell you that that's what it is. There is such a thing as IQ, which is your intellectual quotient, and then there's EQ, your emotional quotient. So, Linda, I want to tell you something that, I'm actually getting a bit teary here because I'm thinking about how you were when we first met you. But the fact you can see how much you've grown yourself, if you can see that, how does that feel? Yeah, being the ruler of the universe is extremely exhausting. And by the way, it makes you pretty bitter. Have you noticed that? Because people rarely do what you suggest. Yeah, it was scary for me too, Linda. But I'm so glad you found us because in our own way, we held your hand through that. And thank you for trusting us and for, I think the important thing, Linda, was that you told your truth. If you hadn't told your truth, if you hadn't started talking about what was really going on, I don't think we could have helped you. But it's the fact that you could talk about it. That's why we're always so amazed when people like Beth or whoever start telling their truth. Kerry, you've definitely grown a lot. And you know something? So have I. Right? It's like that's what we're all working for, isn't it? We're trying to cope with life a little better because the bad stuff is going to keep hitting us. And how many of you have noticed that when I broadcast, I do try to give options. And I trust that the viewer will make their own choice. How many of you notice I actually don't demand that people make the changes? I might hit them with a 2x4 every now and then, but it's like, okay, I just want to make sure you know the truth, but what you do after that is up to you. Well, Linda, I want to tell you that you now have a story that you can share, and that you can see that you did help and that continue to help others. Just by being in the room, you help others. And by the way, how does it feel to be in charge of your emotions? And same for Kerry and Jody and anybody else that knows this one. How does it feel when you are in charge of your emotions? I don't mean 100% of the time, because, perfection is not something I aim for. All right. So Kerry says, I'm content with it. And Jody says it's refreshing and empowering. And I'm not suggesting that any of us. Oh, I want to tell you something, Linda. You are doing a great job. Yes, your emotions are behaving a little better now. Well done. Wow, listen to this one. Sakura is saying, I don't get upset anymore, and I tell the person it's up to you to do what you want to do, or not. And that I'm not there for them to complain to me anymore. Yeah, Sakura, how many times have you heard me say to somebody who's complaining about stuff, what did the doctor say? How many times have you heard me say that? Or I will say, are you getting help with that? Because if you can't be bothered to get to a doctor and discuss this, or if you can't be bothered to get help, and by the way, most things that are emotionally charged, there are self-help groups run by most churches every week, sometimes 7 days a week. Yes, complaining gets you nowhere. You just become a drama queen, right? Complaining about it doesn't fix anything. If I carried on complaining about the fact I wasn't getting any sleep, that's not going to fix it. Going to the doctor, eventually getting a sleep apnea test done, and getting the machine that actually forces air into my nose at night, that fixes the problem. Wow, listen to this. Linda saying what I feel, having taken a deep breath and being okay with the answer, and without that answer sending me into a tailspin. That's liberating. Yes, it's just their opinion. All right. And they asked for your opinion, so you can give it. I always, if you notice, guys, I always ask permission to hit people with a 2x4. All right. Because I want them to be able to take a breath and protect themselves. And I don't want to hit them with a 2x4 without warning. How many of you have noticed I will do that? I'd like to hit you with a 2x4, but I need your permission first. You see, what I'm really doing is saying, I need you to prepare for some bad news that you might not like. Ah, Linda. First of all, let me get to Kerry's point, right? Kerry says, I'm very vocal about how I feel now, and I'm not afraid to voice my opinions anymore. Linda said, I walk 2 inches taller and I haven't grown at all. Wow. That is awesome, Linda. Thank you. I'm sure everybody in the room is honored to have you say that. And Sakura says, I feel proud of myself when I have my emotions in check. But when not, I want to do better. But sometimes I just have to let it pass. Yes, you know something, you don't have to be right under control all of the time, Sakura. Right? What you're aiming for is an improvement. Right? The same thing, Beth. You know, if you can see that you're a drama queen, what you're aiming for is to just do a little less each day. Makes sense. And this is like, if you can just change your behavior a little bit, that is so good. So how many of you have found some help in this 2-part series? And I want to just make sure, we're getting close to the end of the month now. Are you guys still happy that I'm doing it here on YouTube, not on the other programs? So those are 2 different questions. What did you get? All right, what was most helpful, Jody and Kerry? Tell me what you heard today that resonated with you. I really realized that I had to admit that I was sick this week. How many of you know that was a real problem for me? How many of you like the fact that you can go and watch the replay if you want to? I know one person wrote to me and said, thank you so much. I went back and re-listened to it all. They were on the live broadcast, but went and re-listened to it to make sure they got the points. Yay. Well, Momo, it's an absolute delight to have you here. So, you know, big hugs to you, and you're welcome anytime. And hopefully that it will help you. I think, how many of you didn't realize that there was a difference between IQ and EQ? How many of you can see now that you're, thanks, Linda. That's so kind. For those of you who might be watching this on the replay, Linda just gave me a little donation towards the cost of doing these broadcasts and all the rest of it. I really appreciate it. I couldn't believe it, Linda. In the last month, I've had to pay well over $350 just to renew licenses and renew, you know, the website stuff and everything. So I really appreciate it. Okay, so Jody's saying it's been oh, by the way, for those of you listening on the replay, if you found this helpful and want to make a donation, just go to the DearMamaSal.com page, and there is a donation button for PayPal on the side. Just scroll down the right-hand side, I think. All right. So Jody's saying it's been a great refresher course for me. I've been working on my enabling issues. Every time an example was put forth, it's been another point to ponder. They were all helpful. Well, I'm not sure. Jody, how did you change the amount? Do you just type it in differently? Jody's my expert in these things. And the reason I'm asking Jody is I know that she's donated 2 different amounts. I really thank you anyway, Linda. Every bit helps. Yes, Momo's saying that Dale Carnegie's book on how to stop worrying and start living is a really great one if you're into this sort of stuff. There should be a slide bar, Linda. You can slide a bar and it will add it. Well, Sakura, that's why I decided to do this as a second broadcast, because I know that a lot of people wanted, were helped when we did the first broadcast on this. And there you go. So, Linda, you learned something new today. Give yourself a big pat on the back. I'm proud of you. So, everybody, remember not to beat up on yourself too much. I discuss these things so that you can be aware. Right? It's not that you need to get it perfect. Beth, I would hazard a guess, Beth, that part of your problem is perfectionism. You actually don't live your life to please yourself. You use it to please everybody else. And that you have this unrealistic expectation of yourself. And so hopefully, as you listen to these broadcasts, hopefully as the year goes on, you will find that your weight issue is totally a self-inflicted wound, and that you make decisions every day not to eat, and that you had a good reason for doing that in the past, but you no longer do. Because today you are an adult, not a child. Today you can make wise choices, not stupid ones. And so I just need to make sure you know, Beth, we're not going to enable you, right? We're going to keep offering you options. Whether you take them or not, that's your choice. But I can already see that you've taken some really serious steps forward. And I really give you a big hug and applause for that. You see, Linda got it big time now. Thank you, Linda. That's very kind of you. That that really helps me. You know something I was saying earlier, that these costs weren't an issue for me when I was earning money every month, but now that I'm retired, it's more difficult. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. So here is the thing. As you go through the next week, be aware of how many people talking to you help you, all right? You see how many mirrors are given to you this week. Right? Because what I do is I actually listen to people now, and I can hear the manipulation. Now, how many of you have noticed you can start doing that now? You can hear the manipulation going on. Something happened to me at the wedding, and it really quite fascinated me. Because I was, okay, Sakura, all the best. And well done on controlling your emotions. I'm very proud of you. Yes, Linda, it's as if we take a step back and see it from the outside, right? You hear it differently. I saw some behavior during the wedding, and I actually could have got upset with it. But I just looked at it and went, isn't that interesting? I never noticed that before. Do you understand? Whereas before I would have got really angry and annoyed. I found myself just going, wow, isn't that interesting? Now, I'm going to be doing another lesson tonight on triggers. How many of you need that one? The things that trigger you and why they do. And Jody has very kindly offered to let me use an example of something that happened to her as the case study. So we're going to be talking around what happened and why, and all the triggers that were contained within this case study. So to me, it's like, UK time 7, and 7 would be about 3 o'clock in the morning. But you can watch the replay, Linda, while you're doing the washing up, or while you're ironing, or while you go out for your walk. You see, that's what I love about YouTube. We can you don't have to worry if you're in the in England because you can watch the replay. Well, Linda, I thought I thought it. Yeah, but you know something? I probably will do 2 lots on triggers anyway. So I will do this one, and then I'll make a point of doing another one on triggers next Friday. How's that, Sophie? Because Jody will remind me that I need to. How's that? Yeah, actually, Linda, I have the same thing. You know, if you're not capable of being washed, I don't need you in my life anymore. You know, um, and did you know? How many of you do dry cleaning in your dryer? Thanks, Jody. There's a product you can buy. I think it's called Dryel or something, or Dryall. I'm not quite sure what it's called. But you can actually put things that need dry cleaning into your dryer with this stuff, and it will do that number. So but I don't have things that can't be dry cleaned. I mean, can't be washed. I found out I can wash silk, just requires a lot of ironing. You know, it's just like there are all sorts of things that I can do now. Dryel, there you go. Yes, so some of you have found it already in your life. Dryel. Thank you very much, Jody. I don't use it very often, but I've always been very happy with it when I do. So just a thought, if any of you have never tried it. I think you guys worked really hard today. I'm very proud of you. And I just wanted to own my stuff, as I said in passing earlier, that I think the disappointment of not being able to get the trailer out really did affect me, and probably why I got sick. Or did I pick up the flu when I was at the wedding? I'm not sure which of the two it was. But, you know, to actually give myself permission to do nothing this week was really huge. And I had to keep reminding myself, if I were on vacation, I wouldn't be doing anything. Can any of you relate to that? Sophie, I really wanted to give you credit for sending me the picture of your progress in your bedroom. Yeah, it wasn't very pretty. Do you want to see it? Let me go get it. Hang on. Okay, so this is the whole point that we're making here. I could lie in bed and complain that I wasn't feeling very well. Beth, I'm very proud of you. Will you eat some? Or I could go into the studio, and even though I wasn't feeling very well, well done, Linda. You can do this. You know something, Sophie? Sophie's saying that that where she cleaned is now looking untidy again. What I said earlier, Sophie, is that if you get to it quickly, it won't take very long to get back into control. But if you wait a week, it'll get progressively worse. All right, so this is the painting I did yesterday, and I'm not very pleased with it. Hang on a second. Yeah, absolutely, Beth. That's what we do. Be accountable, right? Show the before and after. So I think I'm going to paint over the top of it because it doesn't matter which way I turn it. I don't particularly like it. But I guess it's not about me. It's what other people think. See, so this is the whole thing. I should never choose my own paintings, right? Because I think, you see, I think this one, for example, is a lot more exciting to me than this one. But if enough of you like it, then I should put some varnish on it. Thank you. I trust you guys not to be impolite to me and just tell me you like it even though you don't. It looks like a baby lamb. Okay, tell me which way. 1, 2, 3. Where's the baby lamb? Here? 4. Here. 1. This is 1. Okay, 1. Where's the baby lamb? Seriously, where's the baby lamb? Well, you can write to me, Momo, and send me pictures at DearMamaSal.com. Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. Oh, I get it now. This is little hairy bit on top of the head. This is the head. I've got it now. Okay, got it. Yeah, and that's the eye. Am I right now? I love it when people can see animals in my paintings. Or maybe this is the eye. Yeah, that's the eye. These are the eyebrows. Thanks, Jody. Anyway, so I did that. I did a couple on paper, which I didn't bring with me, but I did do. So, Jody, I really thank you for supporting me in that because I realize that I haven't painted in a couple of weeks. And I think it's also having something to do with my attitude at the moment. A cow with a fluffy head. That's actually, I thought the same thing, but maybe we're not looking. A lamb looking left. I'll have a good look at this later. So how many of you prefer this type of art? However, as opposed to this type. I like the negative space, and I love it when it's got some space around it. I just think it looks so awesome, but everybody did their own thing. You like both? Yeah, all right, fine. So now then, here's the thing. Jody, I need a bit of a push this week to to continue with the mailing list, please. And also to send out the first thing by the end of the month so people can get a special deal. I want to do some special deal on artwork and pendants. What do you think for those people who are on the mailing list? What do you think would be a nice way to do that? Should I just do it with a discount, or shall I just put up some items that are on sale? There's part of me that goes, if I do a discount, then you can choose anything and get the discount. Anyway, let me know. So I'm about to go off and have breakfast, even though it's 2:00 in the afternoon, because Beth, the discount would be very generous. Okay. So it's difficult because like on the pendants that I've got priced, yeah, I've tried to include the mailing costs in there. So I've got to be a little bit careful, on discounts so that I still, so I can still pay for the mailing costs, all right? But okay, I will try with the discount and see how we do. Maybe it won't be relevant. Because I think then you can look at anything on the shop pages and just pick anything you like. How many of you going? Yeah. So Linda, you want 3 of them up your hallway? Staircase, whatever. we can make a plan. Start with 1. All right. So everybody, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your participation. I now need to go and write another broadcast this evening after I've eaten. Yeah, so, but the good news is I've still got to do that. So I will have to sit down and concentrate this week and get that done. I promised myself that by the 1st of May, I would have something out to you guys. All right, Beth, well done. Keep up the little steps. We are very proud of you. Enjoy your smoothies and the pizza. I trust you're going to have a piece of that pizza. All right, everybody, big hugs to you, and thank you for being here. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember to look after one another, but first of all, start with you, right? And make sure that you're not letting everybody manipulate you. We'll be talking about triggers this evening for those of you who can come back. And for those of you who can't, it will be on the live stream replays. This is DearMamaSal saying, thank you so much for being here. And Jody, great job as usual. But everybody, big round of applause for Jody. She acts as my admin, brilliant admin, and also keeps track of everything for me during the broadcast. So at the end of the broadcast, she sends me a little update and goes, okay, remember to do this, this, and this. She's doing a wonderful job. Mamal, good to see you, and all the best with your studies to be a doctor. I know that takes up a tremendous amount of time and energy. All right, everybody, love to you all. This is DearMamaSal saying bye-bye for now, as soon as I find the right bells to hit.